Now, for all of you who want to get past slavery, you're tired of hearing about it. You don't believe that there were slave ships. And you're okay with them erasing Afro American history, especially museums that reflect the hardships that we have been going through. For all of you out there that think that it was a lie because there's no evidence of any slave ships, you feel like we're indigenous to this very land, and you want to push past this whole racial discrimination and the oppression of black people because your skin is black. You identify as a black American. Let me educate you in some very important things. Regardless if you were born in another country and you found yourself migrating to America, regardless if your ancestors were freedmen, today in America, if you identify as a black American, you're being discriminated against, regardless of the fact that your ancestors were enslaved. If they were or not, you're still dealing with the consequences of this here worldwide slavery that black Americans were involved in. That slavery all the way back then, as y'all say, is still affecting you today, and you don't even know it. Now, the reason why I make a big deal about slavery is because for some reason you guys don't realize that you're entering into another one. There was another creator on here that says that, the people in Israel are eliminating a whole group of people so that they can start a new type of Egypt. Because we all know that the Hebrews built all of the pyramids inside of Egypt. So in fact, it makes sense for these particular people who say they are a certain people, but they really aren't a certain people. It makes sense for them to try to enslave the same people who built the pyramids. What are they going to be building? They are building a third temple for the anti-Mashiach or Antichrist. They really needed to move everybody out of that land that has any type of relics or any type of history that matches scripture. Because actually, that proves that the Bible is real. And today, they don't want you to even really understand the Bible because they have been in charge of all scripture. The whole world, in fact, has been running through a religious idea of a higher being. That's right. These people have grabbed scripture and interpret it into some type of gospel for you to be obedient by so that you can continue to build a new Egypt, in fact. Now, this isn't a surprise because we are living in a Egypt of sorts. And basically, Egypt was a trading country. It was a trading place. People from all over the world would come to Egypt to buy and sell. In fact, Egypt was so large that even the Hebrews went there for refuge. So it makes sense for them to use these same gifted individuals who are running America, who have built America, to build the third temple. They need us to build the third temple. Now, if you don't believe me, it doesn't really matter because your tax dollars have been going over there to do just that, build the third temple. So now that you understand what's going on in the world, what are you going to do about it? What in fact can you do about it? Well, the first thing that you need to understand is the characters inside of the Bible. Without really identifying these characters, you will not ever really understand the gold of the upper echelon. And if you don't understand what's going on in the golds of the upper echelon, you don't know how to rebuke it. You don't know how to cast it down. You don't know what you're praying for, in fact. Now, it's so interesting that all of these years, the largest religion in the world, which is Christianity, has been praying to lift up people that say they are a certain people, but now we know that they are not those people. But in fact, we have identified who the promised people are. And as soon as we identified who the promised people are, look at the state of the world. Look what's happening to America. Look at all the lies that are being revealed today at an alarming rate. So the only thing left to do with America is continue to have you live in the strong delusion. And if you wake up from this here strong delusion, then you are a threat. You will be shadow banned. You have no voice. You can't do anything because you now are the number one enemy of the people who say they are certain people, but they are not. So now you can understand why the Messiah talked in parables. And it's mainly because if you have ears to hear, you have ears to hear. And my suggestion is that we stop praying for the enemy and start praying all together for the promised people to wake up completely. Because those are the only people that can help in the last days. How can we help? We can help by our prayers and our obedience to the Most High. Because he says, if my people called by my name will humble themselves and seek out my face, turn away from their wicked ways, I, Yahuwah Elohim, will heal. Then I will hear from heaven. I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land.